got the flu, Jesse. Why? Because the doctor gave us...
Roll 'em Raceway.
No.
Merry Christmas! Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas, ladies and gentlemen, and they thems. Times like these are best spent with family, friends, that one homeless person who put a cigarette out on your eye, and all those people you care deeply about. It's a time for giving, a time for celebrating, and getting ready to usher in a new year. And what better way to bring in the holidays than to play the most popular board game of all time? Sonic Crack Mario Party. Sonic, we're not talking about Sonic this year. It's just fucking Mario Party. Who gives a fuck? God damn! I've always had a pretty vague idea of how influential the Mario Party series is, and today I'm finally gonna be able to try it myself. What the fuck is this shit? At number 7, we have...
It's the biggest piece of shit, dog, that I have ever heard.
Mad. This board is so agitating to play on. I'm gonna be real with you guys, 80% of the reason I even made this video was just to shit on this board, because there is no way the Nintendo devs play tested it without wanting to blow their brains out with the fucking primal shotgun. If anything, they should have gone back and remade this board to make it a bit more bearable. Without even looking at the original material, it feels like a relic of its time. I guess you do need some trash to make the actual good stuff shine a lot brighter, but holy hell, man, some of the stuff this board pulls is just inexcusable. For instance, the board's central gimmick is that the star only spawns in one place at the top of the castle, and after either an event space is landed on, an item is used, or someone collects a star, the board shifts tonally in theme. Admittedly, seeing the background characters react to the setting gives nice attention to detail, especially the paratrooper sleeping like, oh, he's just a little guy. He's just a cute little fella. And the musical rendition for Imposter Bowser's version of the board also goes crazy. Like, listen to this shit. But then, they play this transition animation, and then they play it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Because everyone's favorite part of a video game is waiting. That's the best part. Keep in mind, I did play this board for 30 turns to get an achievement, so there might be an extreme, unhideable, spiteful bias against it. But even in a 10-turn round, I feel like all the waiting starts to eventually stack up. Especially if you're not in a voice chat playing with friends to listen to blow, it becomes like way too repetitive. Another issue with this board is the lack of Mario iconography. It's his castle after all, like... Wow, they have it! Red! All we have here are a few M's here and there. Mario! With its sibling board, you can take a glance at the thumbnail and just know it's something Bowser adjacent. But Mario's looks fairly generic in my opinion. Maybe throw in some pipes, or since it's a castle, you know, Toad-themed knights with Mario-colored armor. Just anything to really make the board feel more him. Generally, this board also has little variation in alternate routes, and while it is a one-star board, so it's supposed to be easy, you have Mega Wiggler's Tree Party to kind of cover for that. So I feel like it's a little inexcusable for it to be so simple when you already have a beginning course. Even Mega Wiggler's Tree Party does alternate paths better, because at least you have like the Wiggler and the bell, like that mechanic. You have to kind of time stuff or like buy the right item so that you can get that shortcut. Here, all there is 2 alternate paths, one which is basically useless, it's just really the stall time, and another one is just you can get to a ghost. That's literally it. All in all, there's nothing very exciting about this board outside of its gimmick, which gets old very fast. Will you go this way, or will you go this way and stall for like 4 extra spaces, but still not stall long enough to avoid having to buy the Czar? You choose, Spider-Man! At number 6, we got King Bowser's Keep. Now, you guys know me. I love Bowser. I do anything for Bowser. I'm obsessed with it. But look, even though thematically this is a very cool board, it's like very nice to look at. There's a lot of like little details with the minions roaming around and such. I still feel like this board doesn't have much going on, and even then, the gimmick of it doesn't really work out. The main gimmick of this board is that every few turns, Imposter Bowser will add more Bowser spaces to the center. So when you're traversing that area, it becomes more and more common to land on a Bowser space, which means it's more common for bullshit to happen, which means more reasons to curse out my friends. So like honestly, I'm all for it. The highlight here is that whatever gets stolen on the Bowser spaces from other players gets put into this vault that when you walk past it, you get a chance to input different numbers to try to open it, and you can get everything that's inside if you guess it right. But the problem is, I feel like even with 30 turns, I feel like not enough loot is going to be stolen, and not enough people are going to go buy the vault to justify even having it. Because I feel like, you know, no one's really going to guess it. I mean, to this day, when I played with my friends, none of us have been able to guess the combination. So I feel like it's kind of a worthless thing to have. Maybe something they could do is lower the amount of possible guesses. Maybe have it like there's like 10 possible ones. And even if you do get it, even if you do get really lucky and guess that combination, there's probably not going to be that much loot in there to really justify doing it. Like maybe a star and some coins, but in that time frame, you could have just went down another path and went towards that, like the active star itself. Besides the vault, though, I do really like the middle section and how chaotic that area can get, especially with the trolling potential of switching the direction on the board and edging your friends of a star. Like, I mean, come on. Who doesn't love a good classic edge? I didn't say that. The final highlight of this is Dry Bones. One of the most simple but most well-designed characters in the series, Dry Bones. The GOAT. Gives you free coins every time you make it to the start, kind of like in Roll and Raceway, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But it kind of feels disrespectful to lessen him to an NPC role instead of having him as a playable character. Because, like, besides Bowser and Boo, like, he would have been one of my mains. I love Dry Bones so much. And he's been seen in past titles before, so, like, what's going on with all this edging play, Tendo? Like, what we lost the plot.
Do you have any bishops?
At number 5, we got Hell World USA. Okay, so in the Roll 'em Raceway section of this script, I was just absolutely ready to tear this fucking board to shreds. I mean, it's Mario Kart adjacent. I gotta hate on it. That's my duty. When I was born, gotta hate on Mario Kart out the womb. But I will say, my opinion has changed over time. Originally, I did think that it was pretty obnoxious how if you raced over the stars, like if you got the quad dice to like get around the map, you can't pick up stuff or you can't buy go by shops because you're going so fast, which makes sense. It gets you across the map, but at the risk of you possibly missing something. It's that risk and reward that makes Mario Party so fun. I used to really hate it, but like once you figure out that you don't have to use it and you can just kind of wait it out, it becomes a lot more bearable. I was just being really impatient. So I'm glad my opinion changed on there. Something I still don't like is I still don't like that if you roll, like if you roll regularly and you just get a bad roll, you'll get launched farther away from the star. Like if you're right next to the star, you land on one of those little platforms with the exclamation mark, you get blasted back like to the beginning, someone else is going to get that star, and that's annoying. I get the fact that Mario Party is chance-based. You know, it comes down to luck sometimes, so you're not always going to get what you want, even if you line up everything perfectly. But annoying. IDC. Speaking of the 4 dice block, the thrill of racing through the board quickly isn't the only benefit to using this item. It's also super helpful because, like King Bowser's Keep, you get coins for every lap you make it around, and that value increases higher and higher every lap you do. So personally, it's always in your best interest if you don't think you're going to get a star and you just have a 4 dice block in your inventory, just to use it so you can get some coins to save up for later for a shop or for the next star that comes up. There's also this evil shadow car in the back of the map, but I've never seen no one activate it, not even once ever. So, minus 5 points for Hufflepuff, but it has New Super Mario Brothers Wii Hills in the background, so plus 10 points for Slitherhole House.
Okay. You go fish.
At number 4, we have Mega Wriggler's Tree Party. This is a very happy feeling board, and it works as the game's beginner board, and has not much pathway variety, but still enough bumps and hitches to keep the board interesting. There are only 2 main split paths, but there's also the board's namesake, Wiggler. If you land on an event space with a bell, you can ring it and cause Wiggler to move, drastically changing up the shortcut you were originally going for. There are only 2 main split paths, but there's also the board's namesake, Wiggler. If you land on an event space with the bell, you can ring it and cause Wiggler to move, drastically changing up the shortcut you and other players can use to get around the map. It's got fishy boobkins collecting honey, piranha plant stealing your coins, just a really nice time. I love being reminded of SMG4 every time I play a Mario game. It's a beginner board, so there's not too much to say about it besides that. It does its job well, but honestly, that's about it.
Really hope I don't get the jump off a roof minigame again. There's really no chance it's gonna happen anyway, so I think I'm fine.
At number 3, we got Sloppy Slaboon. Goomba Lagoon's main gimmick is its tide system, where one turn after the tide rises, it'll go right back down. And while the tide's up, it can be really annoying because you can get stuck in like some pretty harsh loops where you're just doing nothing for a turn and sitting there. But I feel like it's not that much of a grievance because number 1, again, like I said, it's one turn. After that turn's over, you can resume going to the next island, getting closer to the star, stocking up on items, what have you. But number 2, the item shops have so many items you can use to get out of a bad situation. For examples, there's pipes that you can use to move to another random part of the map. There's the tide shell, which will instantaneously lower the tide. And then there's zip lines that are scattered around the map as well that'll help you traverse to new islands. So really, there is no excuse to be stranded because if you have one of these items, or, you know, if there's a zip line in your area, you can just use it and get out of jail free card. You've got items like pipes, which will take you to a random spot on the board, but if you're in a pretty tight situation, it's better than nothing. The tide shell, which will instantly lower the tide, which instantly helps you get off an island that you might not want to be on. And there's various scattered zip lines. So all in all, you really have no excuse to get stuck somewhere if you're properly prepared and you know what you're doing. If it's your first time around, fair enough. But I feel like after you play the map a few times, you start to get a feel for what items you should keep on you at all times, just in case you're in a bad spot. There's also the volcano in the center, which can either cause a golden Goomba or a lava bubble shower, which can either directly benefit or detriment every player. There's a good chance anyone who rolls, so everyone will run into either or. I'm very indifferent about this because I feel like it's up to chance, you know? It either benefits everyone or it screws everybody over.
Alright, go fish. Don't look at me like that.
At number 2, we got Rainbow Galleria. Fun fact, this is the only rainbow themed board in this game. Now, this board is pretty special to me. I feel like it kind of rivals the number 1 spot, which if you played this game, you know what it is, wink wink. But I feel like this one could easily take first place because there is just so much going on here, you know? Every single time I play this board, it just feels fresh because there's so much stuff you can do. Will you go for the stamps first to get a nice coin payout, or will you book it straight for the star? Maybe you could get lucky and land at the gold shop for a pipe, or is the 1 coin shop for keying people more your style? You choose, by exploration throughout the mall is incentivized heavily. I feel inclined to pick this just to see what new shop I'll be able to access, because I'm not kidding when I say there's plenty of them, and you have to land on their specific happening spaces to access them. And then there's shops like the 4th place shop, which you can land on it, you can get lucky and land on its space in front of the escalator, but if you're not in 4th place, you need to get the fuck out of here. Visually as well, this is the most detailed stuff board in the game. The different shop interiors, the rainbow lights, glass ceiling, like come on, look at the pipe elevator. That's just such a fucking clever use of the Mario IP to make a creative set piece if I've ever seen one. Another cool feature of this board is the multiple advertisements advertising other boards on the map. It really brings the whole game together and kind of sells the island resort feel, because this feels like a home base where, you know, you're seeing all these advertisements for all these other places you could be playing on, but like, this is the better map, so like, why would you want to go to that bum-ass volcano or that stupid castle nobody likes? I really like when games have an area or a set piece that kind of ties everything together. You know, there's your world maps like Banjo, Tooie. I just really like when games are able to tie their worlds together. You have games like Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie which just effortlessly seam the worlds together, so that it's one continuous big world that just has little subsections you go into. There's also the Sonic 3 and Knuckles method where it's like these worlds look and feel separate, but there's just like these tiny little details that tie them all together. For example, you know, you have Angel Island, you have the waterfall, which leads straight to Hydrocity, just indicating that, oh yeah, this is just one of the many sources that water comes from to get into Hydrocity. I know this isn't the Sonic 3 and Knuckles video. That's going to come out in 50 years, I promise. But it's just something I really like when games take the extra step to really make their worlds feel fully thought out and fully lived in. Even if it's just a Mario Party game, like they didn't really have to put that much attention to detail, but they did. Because they said, okay, let's try to sell this like it's an actual tropical resort that you would visit with all these different locales that they're going to advertise to make a profit. I don't know. It's such a nothing thing, really, but it's just so cool to me. I'm obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with it. And wow, I didn't even mention this yet, but Mega Mall's kind of gimmick is the special feature where there's flash sales and you can get various things like stars and items for dirt cheap, half off. The catch is it's only one turn, so if you're not near a shop, shit out of luck, buddy. Better hope you closer next time. Yeah, it works pretty well. There's not much to say about it. Just, you know, be around a shop or fuck you, kid.
Okay, people, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Santa's coming to town.
It's just such a cozy feeling board, man. Like, I feel like you just can't go wrong playing this. Like, the music, the music is so fucking good. It's so cozy and just happy feeling, man. I remember hearing this track specifically when I was younger, like in those Nintendo meme compilations. If any of my pushing 20-year-olds know what I'm talking about, you know, those ones where they like put a text-to-speech meme and then they have like the Nintendo music in the background. It was like the music they used was like Westernland, Coconut Mall, and that one Koopa Beach theme. Like those were like, that was like the big three of like, you know, text-to-speech Nintendo music. Regardless, what I'm trying to say here is that hearing the new rendition of that song in this new Mario Party, and it's just like just hearing that song just brought, you know, it brought back good memories. But it's like it's so well adapted, so cheerful, and just like, you know, giddy. You know, you have to just get up and just do a little jig when you hear it every time, man. We haven't even talked about the board yet. We're just talking about the music. Like, that's how you know it's good. I'm just yapping to yap at this point, and you are listening because you know I am right. It just feels like coming home to a nice warm cup of milk and cookies in the desert. So milk's evaporated and the cookies soiled. Alright, enough dilly-dallying. Let's just get straight into the board. And honestly, it's pretty straightforward. It's just a big circle you go around with a few detours and locales to stop by, and just the right sprinkle of bullshit into the Mario Party soup to keep the game interesting. The main gimmick with this board, I'd say, is Steamer. There's a good amount of risk and reward involved with him. You can ride him to get farther ahead and thus to the star faster, but when picking the direction, there's a chance you'll go backwards and end up hindering your progress. You can still benefit by landing on a happening space or calling Steamer to the station, running someone over on the tracks and sending them to the start, because that's always funny, and I love hearing my friends curse me out when I do that. It's the best feeling ever. You play like a god, add me. Now that's just Steamer. You can go by different shops to get Steamer tickets so that you can just automatically call them without having to buy coins. At the beginning of the match, the Steamer tickets are a lot cheaper to get, so it's just a lot easier than spending 10 coins to call him and then also ride him. Ayo, to the next station. There's also Hootenannies, which honestly I kind of forget they exist sometimes, but they can be really useful if you want to, again, gag someone out of a star. What you can do is that if you land on the right space, you can call every player to that one specific spot for like a little party, you know, a little Hootenanny. But if they were in front of a star, they don't get sent back. They are on that space, and they have to roll from there, which is the most annoying but the most deviously funny thing ever. So I love it. And like I said earlier, this board is very simple. It's very straightforward in what it shows and what it does, but I feel like there's just that right amount of difficulty to like always keep it fresh to play on, which is why it is my favorite Mario Party board from Mario Party Jamboree. the worst game ever. And that's my list. Do you fuck with it, or would you rank the boards differently? Let me know in the comments down below how you would organize them in your own list. And subscribe, follow on my social medias. Have a Merry Christmas and goodbye forever. New video 50 years from now. See you then.